Do WWE have some major heat with the networks that put on their shows? I am Luke Owen. I'm joined by the hardest working person in all of sports infotainment, Little Miss sells your crap on the internet, Denise Salcedo.
What?
How's it going, Denise? Hold it, Sean. I'll come to you next.
Yeah, Sean.
How's it going, Denise?
Hold your horses. This is my show that we're on now. Well, technically mine and Luke's, but still. So you know what? This is my intro. Let me take it. Welcome all.
How are you doing, Denise?
I'm doing pretty well, actually.
Good. That is excellent. I'm looking forward to seeing your debut on the Shopping Network.
Well, no, it's a Shopping Network type show. Yeah, but it's on Amazon Live. But I didn't know what else to call it. Show that sells stuff.
And we are joined this week, of course, our special guest, the second hardest working person in all of sports infotainment from Fightful, from Fightful Select. He is one of the best at this game currently right now. Sean Sapp, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for inviting me on. Denise, do you want to compare analytics really quick?
Well, let me see. I just got some breaking news from AEW. What about you?
Let me see. Let me make sure.
AEW's pay-per-view event All Out to air in select theaters in North America on September 5th. Bam, outscooped you. Suck it, Sean.
There you go. I didn't get it. They hate me now.
Suck
they hate me now.
Oh, Sean, you shouldn't have taken that catering at SummerSlam. Now you're
you know what?
AEW's bad books.
I'm just going to take Denise's news and tweet it out to my 101,000 followers.
Sean, we all get it. It's a big deal for you. You're from Kentucky. Here, not a big deal.
It's not. How would you know if it's a big deal or not?
My neighbor is a bigger influencer than you.
Who?
Oh, I live next to famous people,
Cool.
Sean.
Who?
I'm in LA. I don't know
Tell
how to.
me who?
I can't reveal their information.
You can't tell us an influencer so we can go be influenced by them. Denise,
I can't give you the person's name and where they live.
Liar.
That's just
Denise is a
rude.
liar. I knew it.
Guys, look, we're all friends here. We're all going to talk about the news today. We're going to have a fun and grand old time. Also, I have out Hollywood Salcedo's today, by the way. I did some interviews for Shang-Chi today, which are going to be going up on Cineworld next week.
Oh, okay.
I did something with a peripheral WrestleTalk site that hasn't gone up yet, and I'm very excited to see up.
Oh,
Sean, can you let Luke have his moment? This is what I mean, Luke. Sean doesn't let anybody have a moment. Like, this was your moment. You're putting over your interviews, and Sean was like, well,
Luke, can you mute Denise real quick?
No, well, that's the thing. I had so many people say you need to mute Sean today. I'm not going to mute anyone. I'm letting everyone have their floor. I'm letting everyone have their
because Luke is a kind person, Sean. You should learn a thing or two from Luke.
I mean, Denise, look, I mean, you're one of my favorite people that I do these shows with. However, when Sean mutes you, like that WWE superstar that said that they think is hilarious, I also think it's pretty hilarious.
Denise, I got to ask you. So you sent me some birthday gifts, and I haven't opened.
How many have you gotten, by the way?
I think 3.
Okay, you're still missing one.
Okay, so one of these is from you. There was one that didn't come wrapped.
No, then that can't be from me.
Did you send me a bunch of Mexican candy?
Who the hell else would send you that, Sean?
I
what
don't
other
know.
Mexicans do you know?
A lot.
It didn't come packaged?
I mean, kind of. It came in a clear package. And
Damn
I was like,
they spoiled my surprise.
And
okay,
here's me.
I can't say anything more.
Here's me being like, I don't want to be racist, but Denise had to send me this, right?
Wait, so you were afraid that you were going to be racist by insinuating that I was the one who sent you Mexican candy? Sean,
other
that's
Hispanic
not racist.
people, Denise.
If you would have told me, Denise, to just send me a bunch of Mexican candy, I would have been like, yes, like I did right now when I said, Sean, how many other Mexicans do you know that are going to send you candy?
Denise, before my wife, I dated a couple of Mexicans.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So maybe they sent me
Mexicans.
They
ain't the same.
Yes, they didn't immigrate at all, Denise. They were born here in Kentucky.
Sean, I'm just trying to make a point here, okay? And my point is that you were trying to work around trying to find out if I sent those to you.
Because I thought you sent me 2 things.
I tweeted you and I said, I sent you the Mexican candy because on our Monday post show, Luke, Sean was saying that he's never had an elote or raspado. And I started to think to myself, wow, that's really sad for Sean. Let me send him a little bit of my Mexican culture. And so I sent you
pickle flavored suckers.
So I sent you a ton of Mexican candy. So enjoy. That's one of your gifts.
I busted open that mango
candy.
Don't
open it yet, though. Don't open it yet. You cannot open it yet.
I already did.
Dude, well, stop eating them. Don't eat them anymore. Stop.
I ate a mango candy, and why is there spice in everything?
Because
that's quite nice, though.
Yeah, it is.
Denise sent me for Christmas last year. Like, they had a lot of spice, and it was dead nice.
Yeah, it was. I just wasn't expecting it because I eat like dried mangoes a lot, and then I ate this mango candy, and I was like, this is pretty similar. And then it had this spice to it. And I was like, I was not ready for this.
There's a bunch of spice. Beware. But can you hold the phone for a second? Because you're going to need that.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue on, Luke.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's wonderful to basically be like, because I listen to you guys every Monday or, every Tuesday, really, for me, doing the Raw review. And I basically just get to be like, I'm live in person hearing you do one of your shows. So that's quite nice, really. But we are going to be talking, we've got a bit of news to talk about today. This is coming off the back of SummerSlam, off the back of the first dance, and all this sort of stuff. And apparently, WWE have found themselves in slightly hot water with both USA and Fox. So from the USA side of things, this comes in from Andrew Zarian, one of Denise's best friends, that said there's a little bit of an issue with NBC and the USA guys and the fact that the SmackDown roster is really stacked now. That's because the two big returns at SummerSlam were both Becky Lynch and Brock Lesnar, and both of them are on SmackDown. Denise, what do you make of this? Do you think the Raw is now like suffering, and that's why USA might be a little bit upset about that?
Well, I think that I'm just saying that if I worked at USA and I was seeing the discourse that the fans and the people are having and the people and what they're saying about the product, and then in comparison to SmackDown, like how many times don't you hear people essentially saying like, hey, I can't stand watching Raw, but I'll definitely check out SmackDown. And I feel like if you're seeing that discourse, like, and then you're also seeing the product and you're seeing the difference and you're seeing how like much loaded SmackDown is, I would consider being a little bit, worried about that. Like, why isn't there, more being put into Raw? And, that was one of the things that I mentioned to Sean on our past Monday show was I mentioned basically asking, like, do they know that they are no longer that A+ show? Because the A show is now SmackDown, and it's been SmackDown for a while now. But I think because for such a long time, a lot of us have been used to it being Raw, that, there is that shift.
Sean, I mean, there were two huge returns on Sunday. Like, I thought that WWE might, because they haven't really got a lot of these left now that they can spread out for the rest of the year. But, they did both Becky and they did and Brock on SummerSlam. What did you make of both of their returns? And are you surprised by Andrew's reports?
So I'm not surprised because I had been speaking with Andrew and some other people for a couple months about the Fox WWE relationship. And it's even more complicated than I can really put forth right now as I get these headphones out of my shot. But when I was speaking to somebody in WWE, they were like, hey, please wait until after SummerSlam. There are things that are going to happen that will probably change your story. And they did significantly. The Becky and Brock stuff significantly changed the story. As far as NBC knowing that they are the B show, so to speak, I think they already got that impression when they paid about the same amount for 3 hours on a Monday as Fox was paying for 2 hours on a Friday. However, the relationship between USA and Peacock is at least stronger than that of Fox and Peacock because they're under the same umbrella. And that is a lot of money that company overall is paying to WWE as well. Fox wasn't exactly thrilled that they got to promote somebody else's streaming service all the time, but I'm working on a story about that. And one of the things that people said to me was, well, Fox wanted the rights so bad, they should have bought it for Tubi, or they should have bought it for themselves and just aired it on broadcast TV on every few Sundays a month or whatever it may be. But that wasn't what happened. So, I mean, they got to understand the nature of broadcast deals. Like Fox isn't the only person or the only outlet that gets to run baseball or football or anything like that. So I do agree with WWE in that sense. It's just, you do have to spread the wealth a little bit. And, I thought that Raw was one of the more unoffensive episodes this week. We saw a lot of fresh stuff next week as well. But the lack of stars on that show And you got to remember, John Cena was on Fox too. They put him on Raw like once, and the rest of his segments were dark. So, yeah, if I were USA, I'd be like, hey, what's up here? And Denise had a really good line around, I think it was Hell in a Cell. She said it was like the sister wives arguing over who got the Hell in a Cell match. Well, as it turned out, everybody did. They were like, here, you get one, and you get one, and you get one. Now enjoy and shut up. It's a very contentious, odd situation.
Yeah, I completely agree with the point you made there about like Raw really feels like it's lacking in star power at the moment. Like once they finished the Goldberg thing with Bobby, I was like, man, I don't know who's next because they haven't built anyone to face Bobby next. And it was like, I mean, Priest coming out on Monday and like challenging him and Sheamus getting involved. I was like, I mean, it feels like that's fresh and that's different. And that I'm actually really into. They don't quite feel like they're on Lashley's level, but hey, do you know what? I'll take it. But Denise, do you think that like Raw needed a Brock? Do you think they needed Brock more than SmackDown does?
So here's the thing is that I feel for like a couple of weeks, there was a time where I kind of felt like SmackDown really was just Roman Reigns' show. But here's the thing, because everything that he was doing on that show and everything that you were seeing play along, you know, with the story of the Usos and Paul Heyman and everything that they were doing there, it sort of carried that show, even though it really was sort of just focused on that one person. And then we started to see them, you know, give a little bit more stories to other people once we saw, you know, Edge return, once we had the, incorporation of his storyline with Seth Rollins, and you started to see a little bit more of that. But then over on the Raw side, like even when they're lacking, I didn't really feel that there was somebody as strong as Roman Reigns sort of keeping that show together, because Bobby Lashley, like for all of the good stuff that he's doing, I personally still do not see him at that Roman Reigns level in terms of like really like keeping the show together and being at that high interest level where I feel people want to see. And there's a difference there with him and Roman Reigns as champions. And then also, like, given the fact that you have that additional hour, I mean, there could be, watching SmackDown, there could be some shows that necessarily aren't that great, but because it's 2 hours, it just goes by so much faster. So I can tolerate a bad episode of SmackDown a little bit more than I can tolerate that, 3 hours of a bad Raw, or necessarily 3 hours of a Raw that I've already seen 5 times. So it's just that issue was that there was really nothing there to get you other than a bunch of rematches. And then here's the problem. And here's the other thing that I was also mentioning to Sean on Monday was that we had a pretty decent show this past Monday. Okay, great. Let's just say that they really do keep putting on decent shows and they start to get, back on the road, not back on the road, but back on track in terms of putting on good shows, because there is such a bad stigma to Monday Night Raw right now. If, people like us, if we're out here and we're telling our viewers like, hey, go tune into Raw, it's a pretty good show, it's going to take a very long time for people to believe us and for people to actually tune in and give it a shot because of all of the negativity that has been surrounding that brand.
I mean, I just didn't realize that actually I'm in the company of the only 2 people I know that watch Raw live and watch it all, like, to do their post show afterwards.
It's been a great benefit to us, though. Like, our numbers have shot through the roof because everybody else is dropping like flies, and me and Denise are the buzzards that are just picking the bones right now.
Hey, man, it was a smart play. Sean, like, I think for the Becky situation and her going to SmackDown, I feel like they kind of needed a Becky Lynch on their women's roster, because, like, I mean, Raw's not been a great scene, but at least they've got Flair and they've got Asuka and they've got a few other people, Rhea Ripley and Nikki, that they can fall back on.
Do they have Asuka? I haven't seen her on the show in months.
Well, yeah, okay. I mean, they have the options. What was my point? They have options.
Yes.
But like SmackDown, it was just like, I mean, yeah, Belair's beaten Carmella 1,000 times. She's beaten Zelina Vega 1,000 times. Like, who else was there? I think SmackDown really needed Becky Lynch.
I think they did, based on the way that they booked their show. I mean, look at the way they booked their show. You debut Shotzi and Tegan, and they beat the women's tag team champions 3 times in a row. So what, we're supposed to want to watch that a 4th time? And then they're like, hey, Tony, come on over here. And she beat Zelina. And then they're like, oh, Zelina, no, you get a title shot, or you get a top contender match. Carmella, you want 4 or 5 of them? There you go. Instead of just, I hate to say it's how AEW does it, but if they've got somebody who's going to be moving to the back of the line, a Chris Statlander or a Red Velvet, they're like, you know what? Let's get them their wins. They can get beaten by the champion pretty soundly, and then eventually they'll get back there. You know who got back there? Britt Baker got back there. Hangman Page got back there. There are so many people. Like, they don't have to be undefeated. Good wrestlers can beat other good wrestlers in a title match. I would have loved to have seen Toni Storm win 4 or 5 matches, and Bianca Belair is like, I'm going to knock you off before you get any more momentum. And that's like a major SmackDown match on Fox. There you go. And people are going to look at Toni Storm and go, who's that, if they don't know? This is not rocket science. It is not rocket science. But the way that WWE books it, and they did it to Bianca too. So whenever I have people say, oh, well, look at Bianca, it worked for her. She got parked all 2020. She showed up on Raw, beat Zelina 232 times, and got parked until she was moved to SmackDown. I can't remember how many weeks me and Denise are like, why is Bianca not on the show? Why is she not on the show? Until it's that act's time, so often, if they see something in somebody, they just keep them off TV. So that's why they need Becky Lynch, because they've parked so many people. It's like, okay, well, you brought up Shotzi and Negan, and they're doing the same thing. Tony's not doing anything. Bianca faces the same opponents every single week until Sasha comes back, and now Sasha's not around.
And I want to add to that, because if you guys, at SummerSlam, when, Sasha Banks didn't come out and it was said that it was going to be Bianca versus Carmella, I think that the reason why that little swerve worked with Becky Lynch coming out afterwards is because we've been taught to believe, or we've seen so many rematches that them essentially doing the Bianca Carmella was not necessarily going to be a shock to us, where we've been so conditioned to sort of be disappointed in seeing these rematches so many times that I genuinely think a lot of people bought that. And that's like the one thing where I was like, the fact that a lot of people bought that we were really going to see Bianca versus Carmella, including myself, I feel like that's a bad sign in terms of, not giving them the benefit of the doubt. And you want to have that. We've been so conditioned, again, to those rematches.
Denise, they've done this a few times. Like we've mentioned it, how they'll be like, oh, look, we're doing the same crappy thing we've always, oh, psych, we got something okay for you. Like, that should be a shining example of maybe you should change. If the whole audience is groaning and they're going, oh, we thought you were changing. We thought you were different. And you've got to use that to manipulate the audience. Oh, man. And it's happened in a lot of their big moments. It has.
Oh, yeah. I've actually seen a few people in the chats have just been like, where's Liv Morgan? And like, I'm going to echo what Sean I'm just going to echo what Sean said there. It's not her time at the moment. So she's just not on TV. She's just been parked.
She had a storyline, or if you want to call it a storyline, ahead of Money in the Bank. I thought they were doing something with this. Hell, at this point, I thought either A, she was going to win the Money in the Bank, and then I thought maybe she's going to do something with Sonya Deville. I don't know. And then she just poof disappeared for like the 500th time that they've done this to her now.
Unreal. Oh, yeah. And it's okay to cycle talent in and out and give them breaks and stuff like that, because AEW does that a lot. Impact does that a lot. Like, Cardona disappeared for like 6 weeks and it was okay. And then, like, especially with WWE people, you get that ready built return pop, and then they look like a big star in front of whatever live crowds these are.
Well, the other side of this coin is that it's not just USA that are apparently unhappy with WWE because SmackDown has the stacked roster. Fox as well apparently aren't particularly pleased with WWE. This comes in from Dave Meltzer in today's Wrestling Observer newsletter, talking about Brock Lesnar, saying it was literally a last-minute deal to bring Brock Lesnar back in for SummerSlam, and it was done for a number of reasons, some of which related to Fox, CM Punk showing up in AEW, and John Cena leaving. Dave says here, Punk has a positive relationship with Fox from his making his deal with them for WWE backstage. In fact, it was Fox who were among the first to congratulate Punk on the big ratings Rampage did last Friday night. Fox is very upset that WWE didn't make a big offer to Punk to keep him from going to AEW. And politically, WWE felt the need to get Lesnar and Lynch to SmackDown right away. Denise, I don't think it's massively surprising that WWE didn't make a play for CM Punk to stop him going to AEW, but are you unsurprised that Fox are upset about that?
So I actually want to take a second and laugh at the fact that if anybody was going to benefit from CM Punk debuting in AEW, it's Brock Lesnar. Like Brock Lesnar used the perfect timing to, as we all know, he's a business guy, he's a money guy. So I thought that was absolutely hilarious. So I did need to point that out. But in terms of Fox, like, I get it. I get why they're upset, but at the same time, it's like, look at everything that's happened. I think CM Punk has made it very clear that he was not going to return to the company. And just kind of seeing what type of guy he is based on like interviews that I've seen of his and, stuff that he's tweeted, stuff that he has said. I think that, and I could be wrong here, but I'm assuming that at this point, the money and the amount didn't necessarily matter, as to the guy just wanted to be happy and just wanted to like live his life. Like that's the way I see it. So I feel like if anything, maybe I get why Fox is mad, but at the same time, it's like, look at everything that has happened between these two parties. I just don't see there being any sort of peace between them.
I think, Sean, like, do you think this is kind of like a good make-do? If WWE weren't going to make a play for Punk, but they can now say to Fox, hey, we brought in Becky Lynch, we brought in Brock Lesnar. Even though that may upset USA Network, it's almost like a domino effect. But do you think like it was worth it? Do you think that's a good trade-off?
I think it's a nice effort. I think it's a really good effort. But, man, the issues with Fox and WWE are ones that I don't know that they've navigated as much. Like, I mean, of course, they used to be on UPN and all that stuff like that. But I mean, UPN was like lucky to have SmackDown on their show. I think we can all agree with that, especially for the rates they were paying. Fox is like, no, we're paying a lot of money. Wrestling is finally getting the money that it deserves as far as ad rates because they were underpaid for a very long time, but they want a return on that. And a lot of the people at Fox I was talking to were like, we don't see the effort. We don't see the effort. And they're like, if people think that we don't have people that know about wrestling keeping tabs on this when we spend $1 billion on it, you're wrong. Of course, we're not just blindly dropping $1 million on it or $1 billion on it. They've got people that are in the know and know when effort is or isn't being made. So when you do a go-home show like last Friday, that my review on Select was 4 minutes long, because it was just me saying, hey, this is a rematch, this is a rematch, this is a rematch, this is a rematch, and there was a cool promo at the end. They're aware of that. They're very aware of that, and they don't like that either. So I think in a situation with Cena, Becky, Brock, you're not going to run rematches into the ground because you don't have them for as many matches. You can't do that. So therefore, the programs that you're going to book are more creatively satisfying. I didn't hate the Goldberg-Lashley build, because it was like, well, at least we didn't see him wrestle 732 times. Yeah, that's the benefit for me as a viewer for part-time wrestlers is I'm like, well, great. At least we're going to see an effective build and some promos, and then we'll finally get to see him touch at a pay-per-view. It's such a weird thing that they've forced themselves into.
Denise, do you think that this is something that they may want to address when it comes to the draft? When is the draft happening? Is it in October, the draft? I forget when they've actually pushed it back. Say again?
As of now.
As of now, it's October. Okay, cool. Like, do you think this is something that they can maybe, like, they can alleviate some of the issues that they've got with both networks by saying to them, hey, look, we've got a draft coming up soon, and that's going to reshift the balance?
No, because this happens all the time. Like we get the same matches, then they do the draft, and then we get the same matches again. So I'm sorry,
Denise,
but I have no hope.
It's the next big reset. It's the
Denise.
next big,
the next big reset of rematches.
They're waiting for the draft, Denise. They're holding off till after the draft.
And then like 5 months ago or however many months ago was, oh, well, they're waiting for the crowds. Yeah. They're saving the creative for the crowds. I'm done coming up with excuses. It's either now or never, because every single week that goes by and we're on here talking about how bad a show was, that is another person that's thinking, you know what? Why am I going to spend my time tuning in?
She used to be the optimistic one too.
I know.
Yeah.
I still
try to find the positives and the bright sides in pretty much everything. So I try.
When you have to witness the Fiend Seth Rollins at Hell in a Cell just feet away from where it happens and keep a straight face on
Did you see that face? That is not a straight face. That was the worst face I ever made.
That'll change a person. Like Denise watches wrestling and she gets like PTSD flashbacks and she's like, oh.
Sean, what's worse is I didn't know I made that face until everybody started sending it to me. And I thought, I made that face. I wanted to die. It was terrible.
I didn't know you at the time when you did that, and I think me and Ollie almost reviewed Waltman's reaction, and I can't remember this. I need to go back and rewatch the footage, but I'm pretty sure that poor woman that sat next to Waltman that has got to pretend that this is good.
Well, here's the thing: is that I was stuck between a bad situation, and there was no winning in this situation for me because it was, Sean went off, and he's, my boss on the podcast. I can't necessarily be like, you're wrong if I'm trying to calm down the situation, right? But at the same time, it's like I would look foolish as hell if I defended that. Even if I tried to defend it, I would look horrible, and I wasn't going to defend it because I knew that it was BS, which is why I made that face that I didn't realize everyone saw.
Well, as Dion put in, face was funny though.
Yeah, it's everywhere now, BTW. Lovely stuff. And then Sean went viral. Sean, he was texting you after that. So we went out to dinner and then he told me that whole thing. And I was just like, oh my God, apparently it was really bad. So there you go.
There are two stories that I've had unsolicited, 15, 20 wrestlers contact me about. I won't say one of them because it's kind of controversial, but this one was one of them. I had people from backstage immediately let's talk about this.
Yes.
Because they knew, because there were a lot of people in the back that thought that this might be an opportunity for a reset. We all knew that they backed the Fiend into a corner here. They booked him into a corner, but they were like, okay, maybe they got something. Maybe they got some master Vince McMahon grand plan, but no, it wasn't like that. Oh man.
Well, Sean, I mean, just to wrap things up on the draft and kind of this news story, I mean, I'm not going to use the term because I was one of those people that were just hey, do you know what? They're just waiting until crowds come back and then all the good creative's going to come in. I was that fool. You
had optimism, right, Luke. I don't blame you.
I was trying to rationale why the TV was so bad. I was like, there must be a reason for this, and the reason must be they're holding off.
There's always a scapegoat and there's always a scheme with Vince McMahon these days. I had somebody, so I got a piece of information this week that I cannot post, but this person said, I don't know how we're going to pull this off and keep interest up for this thing to happen. And it's really nothing major, as major as I'm making it sound. And I was like, I have a great idea. I don't know if they've considered it, but it's a really big scheme. Book a good show. That's it. That's all you got to do is book a good show, because you know what they do instead? They're like, you know what? Let's do Raw Dark, and let's do no commercials during any matches, and let's do a wild card, and let's do a brand to brand invitational.
And
let's
Raw
hire
Underground.
Eric Bischoff. Let's hire Paul Heyman. Let's fire Eric Bischoff. Let's fire Paul Heyman. Let's hire Bruce Pritchard. Let's do Raw Underground. Let's do Retribution. Let's do a shakeup. Let's do another draft. Here we got the Thunderdome now. I'm sorry, that Thunderdome did not add much more than what they had in the PC, except they laid in some audio over top of it. I didn't need to see those video screens. There's always
Sean,
a scheme.
it was award-winning, though. You gotta add that. It was an award-winning.
I know
Thunderdome.
it was. It won the 2020 award for thing I'm most excited to see never happen again from Fightful.com. But there's always a scheme. It's never just let's book a sensible show where wins and losses matter, and therefore everything else matters. There's a scheme always.
I was going to say, I think this week might have been the first one, but I'm going to keep an eye out for a next one. It's Friday. I don't think we had a championship contenders match on this episode of Raw.
Didn't have a championship match either. Nothing had stakes to it.
Yeah,
that was 3 hours, man.
But that was their new thing that they were trying to do, which was this whole championship contenders thing, which meant nothing. There was one, I think it was Priest when he beat Sheamus in this championship contenders thing, and Michael, whoever it was, Corey Graves, well, that may put Sheamus, may put Priest in line for a title shot. I was like, well, yeah, I would certainly think so.
Yeah.
That's what the stipulation is, right?
They put Charlotte in a contenders match when she was already booked, announced, and promoted for this triple threat at SummerSlam, yet she was in a #1 contenders match. I don't even know what the hell they were doing.
They call it a championship contenders match, but then sometimes when people win it, they don't get titles, or title shots. So I'm not sure what it even means. And I got people saying, oh, well, it shouldn't bother you that much that Tegan and Shotzi won that match because it's a championship contenders match. And I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. That just means it's a non-title match. And also, this is their third time beating the tag champs. What more do they have to prove? So now we're in a situation where if Tegan and Shotzi win, it's like, okay, well, Tamina and Natalya got to break up because they lost 4 times in a row. They're the champs. They lost 4 times in a row. And if Tegan and Shotzi lose, oh boy, is that dumb booking.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure they're going to be winning it. I mean, maybe they will, but I feel like they're going to go with Nikki and Rhea. Like, if they're going to put them together as the oddball tag team, that to me feels like that's their new favorite thing is the odd couple tag teams, because we've got 3 of them on Raw. We've got Randy and Riddle, Ali and Mansoor, and now Rhea and Nikki.
And give me that. Give me Tegan and Shotzi against those 2, please. Jesus. And then get rid of those NXT tag titles because you didn't need to book them anyway.
I'll take anything as long as I haven't seen it before.
Well, let's get into some of your ultra chats that you sent across. Thank you all so much for getting in touch. WrestleTalk.com/support. And while you're clicking on links, why not click the video link in the video description down below, beer52.com/wrestle. UK viewers only. They've been sponsoring us all throughout SummerSlam week. They're continuing to sponsor us now into next week as well. You can get yourself not 1, not 2, not 3, not 8, but 10 free craft beers on us. You've just got to pay for that postage, £5.95, and you get yourself 10 awesome free craft beers. I actually don't have any to show you here. I'm not drinking because I may have to rush off in a car to my wife to take to, maternity wards and things like that.
Priorities.
But also, they're all at the office. So I don't have a product to show you here, but please do click the link in the video description down below. Speaking of which, actually, I wanted to show this off because I got sent this yesterday.
I'm so excited to see.
I think Beer 52 should sponsor the childbirth.
Oh, my God.
I got sent this in the post yesterday by a viewer. So thank you very much, Dan. I don't know the gender of my child, but I know that they're going to have excellent taste.
Oh, that's so cute. Stop it. That's adorable.
I love it.
A little Ghostbusters baby grow. This is so awesome.
I love your new Twitter username, by the way. I saw it and I was like, God damn it, Luke. That's hilarious.
That was brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah. I can't take full credit for that. Someone suggested it on our SummerSlam stream. And I was like, yep, that's the gimmick I'm taking now.
No, I love it. I love it. I was thinking about it even like the day after.
Someone even got like Britt Baker to sign a piece of like merchandise at a signing to me that says like, congratulations, DAD. I mean, she called me Luke Owens, but that's fine. These things
you didn't get my tweet, by the way, when I said you to name the
Denise,
baby Kevin.
Denise, I did get it. I just thought it'd be funnier to tweet you back and say, I don't get it.
Okay, well, everybody and myself did not realize that was a joke. And then everybody started to explain it to you. And I was like, how did he not get it?
Amazing.
I know.
Amazing.
I mean, Ollie said to me, I mean, at first I didn't get it either. But that's only because we don't have the same surname.
But I was just like, it's so obvious. Well, okay, I guess it wasn't that obvious. Everybody else got it.
Jared Hazelwood said, with how gutted NXT has become, do you think HBK could lose his smile and leave? I'm not saying he'd work for AEW. He's too loyal to Triple H to do that. But I can imagine he's probably just as frustrated as Triple H. He's not literally married to the company. I think Sean's probably there to stay. He's been very loyal to WWE and to Vince. Yeah. Denise?
I feel like Sean, I can imagine he's in a pretty good spot. Again, I don't know much about that, but I would say that he seems pretty well off to me.
It's a pretty good deal for him. He gets to hang around in Florida, teach wrestling, and a lot of these people grew up watching him. So, yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think it's a pretty good deal for him.
Kiwi, so just wanted to ask, what is your wrestling guilty pleasure? Sorry, but I have to admit, for me, it would be The Miz winning the WWE Championship earlier this year. I honestly thought it was a fun little reign, honestly. Thanks for the great content, guys. mean, he did have it for like a whole 7 days. I think he had it in the end. I mean, for me, I look back on that time very fondly because we had so many people messages when he won the title being like, this is it. This is the year-long reign of The Miz. He's going to have an amazing run as a heel champion. It's going to be awesome. We were there going, oh no, he's being fed to Bubbles. He's being fed to Bobby Lashley next week.
I don't know what mine is. I think I like to see like, I love whenever we see like brawling during the concession stands area, like by that area. That's a guilty pleasure for me because I like to see what concessions they're selling and how the arena looks, especially if I haven't been there. I don't know if that counts as a guilty pleasure, but every time we see anybody brawl in that area, I mark.
I don't have any guilty pleasures because whatever I like. I just like it.
That's what I was trying to think. I was trying to think, what do I like that? The only thing I could think of was watching Sting brawl through the crowd. It's genuinely one of my favorite things in the world because it's like, oh man, it's like every main event of a TNA pay-per-view in like 2010, which that delights me. 10 Risen said, hey guys, love you three doing this show. Who do you think will potentially make the jump over to AEW? AJ Styles, Ricochet, Nakamura, Asuka. Also, what impact to NXT talent or WWE talent would Adam Cole leaving have? AJ Lee to AEW, please. I mean, I don't know about the Adam Cole thing. Today is the last day, as far as I'm aware, like from the reports that I've seen. Sean was putting out some excellent work on this. So, like, today is the day. Like, do we think he's getting the extension, or is he on his way out?
I think he's going to negotiate. I think he's going to see what everybody else has to offer.
Which is a smart thing to do.
And I don't think AEW is the only game in town. I think that ROH will probably, if you don't throw out an offer, you never know. Because look at the Good Brothers and Impact. I'm sure in 2019, everybody thought Impact doesn't stand a chance at getting the Good Brothers. But you know what? They threw out an offer. And then when the Good Brothers got released about 9 months later, where'd they go? They didn't go to AEW. I mean, eventually they did. But they went back to Impact. That was the option there. Show them that you have interest. If you're ROH, show Adam Cole that you have interest. And you never know what might happen to lead him there. I mean, I know a lot of people go, no chance. I wouldn't have thought the Good Brothers were going to Impact either.
Tenriza adds, back to ask, how do you see the TV rights negotiations going if these types of decisions keep upsetting networks? Do they get significantly less? And does AEW get a far better deal next time? A healthy pace to AEW as well, please. Thanks, guys. FTF. Denise, do you think that Fox will want to pay the same amount for the show that they paid this time around?
I have no idea, and I'll just be flat out honest with you because even that first number, that $1 billion seems absolutely nuts to me, and it seemed nuts to me when it was announced, and so like I don't know. I mean, how do you? I can't see that happening again. But then again, we don't know what things are going to be looking like, and once the time comes to renew per se.
Sean,
shout out to FTF. Go to WrestleShop.com and buy one of those shirts from like a year ago because I still get royalties for those. But I think AEW will get a massive increase. It actually would have been better if they waited to do that extension now than when they did. But I know they needed the financial security, or they wanted the financial security. As far as WWE, I don't think their money's going to go down. But because, I mean, they are still the top-rated program. But, I mean, there will definitely be talks, and anybody that does their due diligence over how they conduct their show, for everybody that says, oh, well, who cares about their show when they still get paid? Well, the better a show is, the more people that watch. The more people that watch, the more money you can command on these deals. It is not that hard to figure out.
Joey Robertson said, been wanting to say this all week. I felt that Carmella swerve was an absolute waste of time. Could have just had Becky come out as soon as they said Sasha wasn't there, given time to the match. WWE just loves making people upset. I kind of get why they did it. I mean, to be honest, like I thought it was hilarious that they were still promoting that Sasha Bianca match during the show, like playing a video package from being like, hey, by the way, this is going to be a rematch of the greatest match this year. Make sure you stick around. Oh, we know it's not actually happening though. That was worse than saying John Cena is going to be in the Rumble and then on the pre-show being like, yeah, lol, sorry, he's not actually.
I'll tell you something, like being there when they announced Carmella and when we had what felt like a big chunk of time when that match was going to happen. I said this on my post show, but I was like, I felt like if there was a wave of everybody just finding out someone died, because there was like little to no reaction, where even the boos were delayed because people were just like, oh, like it was just like the fun was sucked out of everybody. And then when Becky Lynch's music hit, I felt so thankful. I didn't even have like a, oh my God, it's Becky Lynch reaction. I had a, oh my God, thank God that they did not go with this match reaction.
So look at the CM Punk thing. I think they would have been a lot better off on Friday. And when I spoke to somebody, they said, hey, this match probably isn't happening, but we're going to promote it as if it is. I think they would have been a lot better off saying on Friday, Sasha Banks will not compete. She is going to compete against a mystery opponent, and everybody would have known who it was. And instead of that mental roller coaster of, oh, it's Carmella, oh, it's Becky, to, oh, what was that? Everybody would have like built the anticipation. And I know there are a lot of people that are like, oh, well, the surprise. Everybody knew CM Punk was coming back Friday. Everybody knew. Did that affect anything? No, it might have made it better.
Yeah, I still cried.
I actually think that for the women, they could have done something totally different in the sense that we know that they knew ahead of time that Sasha Banks was not going to be in that match, right? Okay, so then I actually think that they should have done some sort of tournament on SmackDown, and I know they don't have very many women. Great, have Toni Storm win that tournament, have Toni Storm versus Bianca Belair, have Bianca Belair get this great win over Toni Storm, and then you could have had that Becky Lynch moment. That's the way I think they could have done it differently, so it didn't suck the fun out of everybody and still had that surprise and still given Bianca Belair a nice treatment, a respectful treatment as a champion, because I don't know. I just think they could have done it differently.
Legit Thunderboss said, if you think the networks are pissed off now, can't wait till Survivor Series. And Dan says, hi guys, how is everyone doing? Really glad that you like the Ghostbusters baby growth. Thank you so much, Dan. So happy for you guys. Speaking of networks, BT Sports seems to really love NXT UK, even though its future seems uncertain. What is to expect from NXT UK in the calendar year? NXT UK will continue to get away with being there until Vince McMahon remembers that it's there. And that's probably when it becomes an issue.
Do you want to? I have some thoughts, but I was waiting for you to jump in. Well, my thoughts on this, my thoughts based on an outsider's perspective is that I feel that I don't expect NXT UK to be around for very long. I feel like they're starting to cherry pick some of that NXT UK talent. And that's why we've been seeing, Dragunov, Walter, Kaylee Ray on NXT. And I won't be surprised if they cherry pick who they want and then let just the other people's contracts run out and eventually have the end of NXT UK. Because like I said, let's be real, there aren't very many people watching the product. So I feel like given that they're doing all of this budget cut stuff, that seems like a very obvious choice to essentially cut. So that's what I'm seeing based out of this.
The other thing I'd add on the BT Sport thing as well is and there's no reason why they're plugging NXT UK so much is because they paid money for it. Yes. And they want it to they want people to watch it. So that is probably why BT is so behind it.
Well, people keep asking me why NXT UK hasn't been a part of the budget cuts. And I'm like, well, based on what they're getting paid, it ain't going to free up much budget. That's just it. A lot of those people do not get paid very much. And a lot of them hopped over for an opportunity. And that opportunity has not necessarily been there to the degree in which I think a lot of people thought. But there are people that are financially secure for now. If they get fired, they're not. But they are for the time being. They got a decent amount to exist under that WWE banner.
Anonymous said, remember when Paul White came in saying he was going to do all the breakout news, stealing Sean Ross Sapp's job, and now CM Punk stole Paul White's job. Also, I can't wait for heel CM Punk versus Orange Cassidy. Yes, please. I mean,
Who said he was stealing my job? Who said that?
Anonymous said that he's coming into Paul White was coming in to do all of the breaking news.
Oh,
yeah, he did
wow.
say that because I remember even making a joke of it where I said something along those lines of like, oh, he's going to steal Sean's gimmick, or I made a joke about Fightful Select. I remember making that something going on during that.
Denise, are you going to chant with us at All
Chant
Out?
what?
Tall Paul. Tall Paul.
No, probably not.
Yes, you are.
I'm just going to pretend I don't know you during
Tall
the media
Paul.
thing.
Tall Paul.
Should be too busy taking dumps.
Brigadoon.
Thanks. That's my go-to place. I wait all year for it.
So Denise is probably gonna have the booty squirts then.
Oh, that's disgusting, Sean.
I mean,
that's too graphic for me.
Your digestive system. It's not my problem.
I'm moving on. Brigadoon, with as successful as Punk debut has been, how concerned do you think that the powers in and around WWE are that talent is available for AEW to make more blockbuster debuts once a month for the rest of the year? Daniel Bryan, Cole, Bray, Braun, etc. We think that Bryan, like the report is, and this is what Andrew Zarian and many other places have said, Bryan's going to be September. That's going to be at the New York show. Cole, who knows on that one? Bray is another question mark as to whether they make the play for them. I think Meltzer, he said on Wrestling Observer Radio over the weekend that AEW assigned them and then started to backpedal what he was saying to be like, like it's more of a Malachi Black situation. It sounded to me like he said something that he wasn't supposed to say and then was trying to backpedal it. Either that or he misspoke.
I think I'd be surprised if Bray and Braun go to AEW. I'd be very surprised. And I know a lot of people are acting like that's a done deal. I don't think so. I think Bryan might pop up sooner than what people think. But Cole, I think he's going to see out this negotiation period, and he should. And I don't think it ends this month. I don't think it ends this year. I think it keeps rolling through the winter. I think through February, March, we could see multiple big names pop up in AEW. And that's just the situation we're in. We're in uncharted territory for the last 15 years, at least, since like Booker T and Mick Foley and Christian Cage and a lot of people were moving from WWE to TNA of their own volition. And it's very exciting. It felt like once a year, Luke, like 05, it was Christian. 06, it was Kurt Angle. 07, it was Booker T. Maybe 08 or 09, it was Mick Foley. Like every year. Then Hogan came over in 2010. And it felt like once a year there was something big in TNA that made us go, is that going to move the needle? The difference is it is moving the needle to the point where Warner Media is sending us press releases twice a week now.
And Jacob Hansen said, I've got a theory. CM Punk is already working heel. So when he uses specific wording to Darby, I want to help you, it's to set up his own vision of the straight edge society. Remember he has started WWE Creative. Remember he has stated that WWE Creative ruined that previous group. I think he's definitely working babyface currently. But I'd love to see heel Punk in AEW.
I think so too, because I think what he was saying didn't come off as heelish to me, or at least that's not the way I read it. But I also want to go back to Sean and what we were just talking about, though, because we've all seen the photos of CM Punk and those initials that he's been putting on his shoes. Do you think he's just doing that just to get some conversation going?
I just love how people are like, oh, well, the AC CF means always Chicago, Chicago forever. I'm like, shut the hell up. Yeah, what does BDBW mean there, buddy? What's that mean? Bryan Danielson, Chicago, Bray Wyatt, Chicago? Like, not everything is about that. Like, I don't know what it means. Everybody on the internet that knows what it means don't know what it means until he comes out and says what it means, because he's good at hiding Easter eggs. As far as him working babyface or heel, AEW is good at the shades of gray. Look at Britt Baker. She is a heel that gets a babyface reaction, and they are not going to change anything because of that. And she works against babyfaces. They're like, hey, you know what? Let's just go with whatever gets the reaction. Let's go with what gets the pop, and that's why we're there.
Chris Rains said, I just want to point out here, we've now got 4 more Ultra Chats to get through. Every single one of them, and this has never happened before, is about our guests. This is a first time that this has happened when we've had a guest on the show.
This is going to go straight to his head, Luke. Why would you do this? Why?
I mean, it's going to become fairly obvious when the next 4 things I say.
When you have 101,000 followers on Twitter, that happens sometimes.
Hey, look, both of you are verified. I can't get that. Be happy what you got, Denise.
Trying to get Fightful verified, and I can't.
Oh, well, why don't you brag about your 101 followers to Twitter and tell them that you approve this website?
Sorry, Denise, this isn't you. It's not 101 followers. It's 101,000 followers.
Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. My apologies.
Chris Rain said, happy to see the great muter here with all that baby face fire. S. Hoga said, thanks to the 3V for all of the entertainment. Even though Sean is a jerk, I would still buy you and your wife a water in Cincinnati. Just trolling. Yeah. Thanks again, folks.
Hold on. What is this crap that I hear? Somebody messaged me and said that like some super chat got read on this show, and somebody said that they tried to buy me a beer and I was mean to them or something.
Oh, that rings a bell.
Because I just want to say that has never happened. Nobody to me, to my face, has said, hey, let me buy you a beer. And I have never been rude to somebody that's come up and spoken to me in person. That's a lie. Also, I don't drink beer.
I think we said that. I think we said on the show, it was like, I don't think Sean drinks.
And somebody, that happened on our show?
Yeah. And somebody said it was at an AEW Dynamite in 2019. Well, here's another one. I didn't go to AEW Dynamite in 2019. My first one was in 2020.
I thought they were talking about the Impact show, actually.
That never happened either. They didn't sell beer there. They didn't sell concessions there. They gave away goodie bags there because they were at a studio that was not constructed for audience members. So they put like protein bars and gave people water. That didn't happen there either. God, got to fact check these people. Come on now. Hey, I don't have negative. I've never even had a negative interaction with a wrestling fan or reader in person.
Sean, when I read that, I thought, it's probably plausible. Sean was probably rude to them.
Listen, Denise, just because people come up to you and they say, oh, hey, Denise, and you're like, I'm sorry, I got to take a dump.
Love
it.
Now. Don't worry, Sean. I have some plans up my sleeve.
I'm pretty sure we said at the time, I'm not sure we fully believe what had been said there. Either that, or there is someone who is going to wrestling shows that looks like Sean Ross Sapp and is pretending that they're Sean Ross Sapp to give you a bad rap.
That'd be cool. That'd be very funny. I would love that. To have like a little clone running around. Rap. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Breaking Sydney said, love the Wrestle News Multiverse. Amazing show. The Wrestling Forbidden Door is truly open. Some Stupid Punk. Oh, wow. Look at this group. It's the Dong Lord SRS. He's so tall. Luke, imagine the tallest man you've ever seen. Hold on. Wait for it. Where is it?
Can you remember the tallest man you've ever seen?
Sure. Did you know that he also does voice acting? Luke is going to be a dad, probably a great one. Denise, hi. How are the massive dumps?
They're fantastic. That's how I eat and stay the same.
You what?
That's how I manage to eat and stay the same. Do you not get that? The bigger shits you take, the
Denise, you're not supposed to swear on this show.
Sorry. Wait, but that's not the S-H-I-T in a bad way. It's the S-H-I-T in the fluid way.
Denise, in the fluid way? Denise, that's not healthy. You've got diarrhea, Denise.
Fine then. In the, what would you say, solids?
Denise, I just shilled an FTF shirt without saying the actual F word.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry. Apologies. Look, 52 minutes. I said the S word. You know what? Because I didn't realize that this show was PG-10. Not even PG-13.
You know that this show is... Denise, you and I have been doing this show for almost a year.
To be fair, I didn't find out until I said my first swear word was when I found out I couldn't say swear words.
We are on before noon in the States. You gotta...
Well, Denise. I'm sorry. Apologies. You know what? Here's the thing about this. I don't like this whole non-cursing rule. I'm sure that if there's anybody here that's like a little kid, they probably know more swear words than us. Have you?
I don't know.
Have you heard kids nowadays?
I don't know what's filthier.
There's not even kids in Kentucky. There's no one in Kentucky. Moving on.
I don't know what's filthier, Denise's mouth or her toilet.
And I just want to point out as well, it's less about won't somebody think of the children. It's won't somebody think about the YouTube monetization. I think
yes.
We
don't care about those kids.
All right.
Until Luke has his, then we care about the kids. But until then, we don't care about those kids.
And also, just a last bit of fact checking that we need to do before our last Ultra Chats. Kayla is taller than Sean.
Okay, that's not true. And I've posted verification of this on the internet. So,
Adrian, well, you know, Photoshop.
What would she do?
Adrian
Try to
says-
come and buy me a beer at AEW Dynamite? And me say, no, shorty.
Adrian said, sending this in just to break that Sean trend. Hope you're having a good day, Denise. And
Thank you.
Breaking Sydney, lol, fake Sting, Sean at shows.
So the funny thing is, I've never been more starstruck to interview somebody than the fake Sting. And I know that's weird, but I went to Jeremy and I was like, do you think he'd do an interview with me? And he's like, why wouldn't he? And my line of thinking was, okay, he's doing a signing. And I was there. It was at WrestleCade or something. And I was like, would he want to sit there and talk about playing the fake version of somebody else? And he was like, yeah. And then Scott Norton interrupted the interview to put over NWO Sting as hard as possible. And he was wonderful. It was great. I loved it.
I have not been starstruck at many wrestling shows previously when I've done wrestling interviews. But I can tell you, Ollie, and he's told this story many times before, but when they did the New Japan show with Ring of Honor over here a couple of years ago, he was quite happy because we were like working with them and stuff. And like we had a stall set up. Ollie was very happy to say hello to Minoru Suzuki, very happy to say hello to Okada, very happy to say hello to Naito. As soon as he saw Kevin Kelly, he freaked out. And I was like, I can't go and say hello to Kevin Kelly.
That's so funny.
And NS Ogre lastly said, it was a bit of a joke about you doing a bit on me on the list. I offered to buy you. Aha. So NS Ogre was the person.
Okay.
I offered to buy you a beer in Cincinnati and you did a little rant. That got blown way out of proportion.
Yeah, I had people on Twitter that were like, you were mean to somebody in person. Like, especially people on Reddit, like they'll cook up reasons why I'm a jerk. And it's like, if you're mean to me, I will be mean to you on Twitter. Like, that's the only reason. If you're mean, or if you're mean to Luke or Denise, I'll probably be mean to you on Twitter.
Be quiet. People can do the worst.
Shut up, Denise.
Shut up, Denise. I don't give a damn.
Shut up, Denise.
You would not defend me because you're mean and you're evil.
Shut up, Denise.
No, you shut up.
Shut up, Denise. Anyway,
I'm done. It is not even 9 a.m. and I still got like 2 different jobs to do today, and you're stressing me out.
Thank you.
But well, that was our last Ultra Chat. Go to beer52.com/wrestle and get yourself 10 free craft beers. Sean, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Fightfulselect.com. That's where we break our news. And Monday nights, the Raw post show is where we break Denise in general. I mean, just before she even gets on the show.
I think you're trying to get rid of me, Sean. You're like, that's it. I'm done. I don't know how else to tell her. You're just trying to get rid of me. This is you trying to cut the budget and you don't want to take the heat like Nick Khan by cutting me. So you're like, we're going to kick her out so she can leave on her own terms.
Shut up, Denise.
I'm done.
Denise, is there anything you'd like to plug?
No.
Fightful.com.
Actually, yes. I want to plug my Twitter account at _Denise Salcedo. You know what? I may have a smaller following than Sean, but you know what? Look at it this way. You can say WWE has a bigger following than AEW, but you can say that AEW is the better product. Well, you know what? Denise Salcedo's Twitter is the better product.
I don't know about that. You got to give people money and buy them pay-per-views and pizza just to get them to follow
Sean?
you.
Because I like people and I'm kind. Because I give back to people. Sean. I don't just post things behind the paywall.
Shut up, Denise.
Also, I'm going to disagree. Hold on. I'm going to disagree on that one because that Toy Story AEW thread was fantastic.
Yeah, but my picks were better.
Nobody was even caring. You were trying to steal my thunder. It's typical Sean, seeing that I have a brilliant idea and trying to steal my thunder.
I hate to tell you, but I did that thread 1.5 years ago.
No, you did not.
I did.
Well, then reshare it and see whose is better.
No, I'm good. I'm going to let you get your followers. I'm going to let you get your couple hundred followers off of that.
You know what, Sean? You're just jealous of me because I'm the first person on Fightful that has actually been able to challenge you to some degree.
Shut up, Denise. You don't work with Jeremy, pal. Shut Oh, Denise.
I don't even know who Jeremy is.
Wow.
Denise, you gave me a hard out. I'm trying to wrap this show up, and you're like, you said, I've got to be out of here at 5 past. And I'm like, cool, I need to wrap this show up then. And you're like, no, I'm going to keep cutting a promo on Sean. Norm Summers, by our last chat, I said, actually, I enjoy any combination of you three beautiful bastards that I can watch. Last time I saw Raw live was in 2018. Felt like I was being held hostage for 3 hours. Went to my first Dynamite and didn't want to leave the building. Thank you for you guys and for this company. Thank you so much for watching, Norm. Thank you, all of you that have watched this show. Beer52.com/wrestle. Get yourselves 10 free craft beers on us, UK viewers only. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you to Sean for coming onto the show this week. It was a delight to have you and Denise bicker. It was a great, it was good training for me before I become DAD.
Shut up, Denise.
Bye, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. Jam that jam, everyone.